Let's just do a book tag. Hey pals, Alicia here. I hope you are doing well. And if you're new here, this is the place where we talk about books. Today I am here to do a book tag. I'm going to be doing the horror movie book tag. This was created by Royal Reader. About a year ago I saw this book tag on Harpies in the Trees and I thought it was super cool and I wanted to do it in October. Do it in the spooky season. So there are 10 themed prompts in this book tag and each one, it's basically each question is matching a book to a horror movie trope. Love it. Love that. That sounds good. So without further ado, let's just get into those questions and let's talk about some books. Question number 1, Zombie Apocalypse, a book you would save when civilization ends. So this one's just coming out with the big guns. Basically, what's your favorite book and which one would you save in the end of the world? And I don't know about you, but I do not have one favorite book. Like I could not go through my life and just pick one book that I would want to save. I find that a really difficult question to answer. I feel like if I was in the zombie apocalypse, I would probably die trying to pick up all of them or die trying to run away. I don't have a favorite book, but if there are a couple books that I'm like, yeah, I would totally like want to reread those books, or yeah, like these books elicit like a good memory for me. So one of them is Stories of Your Life by Ted Chiang. I absolutely love this short story collection by him. And just by nature of it being a short story collection, I feel like this has a lot of like reread ability. I absolutely love this. This is a science fiction, speculative fiction short story collection. I could see myself reading this a few more times in my lifetime. So this is a good contender for a book that I'd want to save and keep around to read again. Also, maybe The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. I love this book. This was like a 5-star book for me when I read it a couple of years ago. But more specifically, this book it has like a memory tied to it of me going on vacation with my mom. So this just has like a nice personal memory attached to it. When I went to New York with my mom about 3 or 4 years ago, and she narrated the entire book to me in a restaurant. We sat in the restaurant and she, from beginning to end, told me the entire book, and then I went home and read it again for myself. So that's just a nice memory that I have attached to a book that I really enjoyed. So I would probably want to keep this one. So in lieu of a favorite ever book of all time, those are two books that I love. The Vampire, a book that you would stake through the heart. So I feel like I've mentioned this before on my channel, but the book that I hate more than any other book that I can think of at this point in time is Bird Box by Josh Malerman. I read this book a few years ago and I just thought it was the worst thing I'd ever read in my life. Like, there were no redeeming qualities in this book. I thought it was poorly written. I thought it was tropey. I thought the ending was terrible. I was hate reading it the whole time I was reading it. And I was so surprised to learn that this is like a darling on Booktube. This is like a beloved horror novel and I just don't get it. If you love this book, then that's all the power to you. But I just really, really hated Bird Box. The Haunted House, a book that still haunts you. So I've got 2 for this one. One is Severance by Ling Ma. I read this book last year. This was one of the best books that I had read in 2019. It actually may have been the best book that I read in 2019. And I feel like now more than ever, having read it in 2019, just before 2020, there's a lot of foreshadowing and thinking and reminiscing that I've had from this book that still haunts me. This is about a pandemic that originated in China that raises the world. So it was a beautifully written book, a very dark, almost like satire of a novel, and I have been haunted by it ever since I read it. And the other novel that continues to haunt me to this day is Their Eyes Were Watching God by Zora Neale Hurston. This is a modern American classic. If you haven't read this already, I highly encourage you to do so. I read this novel maybe a decade ago, and I still think about the kind of climax critical scene in this novel on the regular. This is one of the most devastating, one of the most haunting novels, and most beautifully written novels I have ever read. So definitely, continuously, and forever haunted by Their Eyes Are Watching God. Check it out. Check it out for some haunting. The psychological thriller, a book with a twist that you did not see coming. So this question makes me a little bit mad because I feel like I'm just introducing the fact that these books have twists when I feel like, you know, the good thing about a twist is that you don't know. So I'm not going to say anything about these books, but I am going to tell you that these books had twists that I did not see coming. I've got two for this. So the first one that I've got is Perdido Street Station. I've mentioned this book a couple of times on my channel. This is like a weird fiction steampunk novel, and this has a twist in it that just obliterated me. It made me so upset. It made me so mad. It was like one of the best and worst twists. One of the most successful twists I have ever read in a novel. And I can't stop thinking about this book. I can't stop recommending this book because of the twist that I did not see coming. I didn't see that coming. Another book with a twist that I did not see coming is Mind of Winter by Laura Kashiki. This is a domestic thriller horror novel that is all set on Christmas Day. And this novel took me for a ride, and it like scared me and it upset me, and it had a twist in it the twist messed me up so much that I actually threw the book across the room because I was just, I was so shocked by the twist. This is about a mother and a daughter on Christmas Day, and the mother just thinks her daughter is acting strange. She thinks something weird is going on with her daughter, and don't want to tell you anything more. Just, it had a twist. It had a twist that took me for a trip. The Creepy Doll, a book that seems innocent but isn't. So for this, I would probably recommend anything by Richard Adams. I read Watership Down when I was a kid, and you know, I picked it up from the library because I was young and it was about bunnies, but that is much darker than just a novel about bunnies. I also have The Plague Dogs by him on my shelf, and I have wanted to read this for so long, but I'm also like scared to read it just because I know what he's capable of. But The Plague Dogs is about two dogs, Ralph and Snitter, who escape from some sort of testing facility, and then this little fox over here, you know, helps them get to safety. So I haven't read this one yet, but I really want to, and Richard Adams is definitely, you know, innocent but not innocent. Ooh. Also, has anybody read the graphic novel We Three by Grant Morrison? This is an awesome graphic novel. This is about three pets, a dog, a cat, and a rabbit, that are stolen from their homes, and they are basically turned into weapons. So they're kind of put into these cases that have guns and knives and stuff on them. So it's like these three pets that have been, and they also get like language implants in their head so that they can speak and communicate to each other. And they're in this testing facility, and then they escape from this testing facility. So it's these three weaponized house pets who are just trying to find their way in the world, find a home, find safety and security, while also being hunted down by the facility that made them, and also being very dangerous. And I loved this. I love this a lot. So check it out if you haven't. The Monster a book you could barely tackle or defeat. Another unpopular opinion was The Secret History. I read The Goldfinch first, absolutely loved it, blew me away, thought it was one of the best books I'd ever read. The Secret History, though, is admittedly a very beautifully written and successfully written novel. I'm not a fan of the dark academia trope, and I just found it so hard to be following these like unsympathetic rich white kids around college. I just did not care about them. I did not care about what happened to them. So the stakes did not feel high at all, because it's like the risk is jail, and I'm like, cool, just send them to jail. I do not care about these rich white kid criminals. So I know that this book is beloved, and I do think that it is a beautifully written book. Donna Tartt just has a way with words that is absolutely stunning and mind-blowing, but I did not care about this plot at all and found it a chore to read. Just me. The comedy horror, a book with mixed genres that worked. So for this one, I've got a couple that are a bunch of mixed genres together in one that I thought were great. In terms of movies, the comedy horror is one of my favorite like subgenres. Has anybody seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil? I watch this movie every year. I absolutely love it. I think it's hilarious, and it's got that gruesome, gory, like teen slasher vibe going. Definitely love it. But I've got 3 books here that are a mix and mash of different genres together. So the first one that I've got is a comedy horror. This is Hex by Thomas Old Huvelt. This is a novel about a town that is cursed by a witch, and the witch actually does like wander around the town, and she's got her like eyes and mouth sewn shut, and it's just like this weird thing where they'll be like sitting around the dinner table eating their dinner, and then this like witch will just like be in the corner just like wandering around, and they're just like, oh, just ignore her. And yeah, so I thought this was like a really good novel about who the actual true bad guys are, and that kind of like human depravity element. I really enjoyed this. I know this book has a lot of mixed reviews out there, but this one was definitely a hit for me. I liked it. The next one I have is a sci-fi horror, and sci-fi horror is one of my absolute favorite mashups. If anybody's seen Event Horizon, that is one of my absolute favorite movies. Horror in space. I just absolutely love it. This is Obscura by Joe Hart. This was one of the best books that I had read in 2019. This absolutely blew my mind. This is a sci-fi horror about a world where there is a disease, like a new disease that is essentially a super aggressive form of dementia that is contagious. And then this woman, she is a scientist who is studying this dementia. She gets invited to go to a space station where a bunch of the crew on it have been catching this disease out there. So she's just kind of going out there to investigate it. A lot of this novel is set in transit, and it was so thrilling. It was so horrifying. This is definitely a psychological thriller, psychological horror set in space, and I loved it. And I definitely recommend it. The teen horror, a book that you found super cliched or stereotypical. So for this one, I've gone quite literal with the prompt, because the prompt is like a teen horror, and I've picked 2 books that went into those teen horror cliches and stereotypes, and one of them I think did it really well, and one of them I think didn't do it very well. So I'm kind of answering this question very literally. So for this like teen horror trope, the one that I thought wasn't as successful was Kill River by Cameron Rubik. This is a slasher horror about an abandoned water park where a bunch of teens escape from summer camp to go there and then a slaughtering ensues. So this is definitely pulls out all the stops of the cliches, all of the stereotypes. It pulls it all out. It goes all out in the like teen slasher. And I really appreciated it for what it brought to the novel. I just didn't think this was very successfully done. This is actually quite long. It's over 300 pages, and I just felt like the pacing was really off. Like nothing really even started to happen until like over 250 pages. So if you're looking for something that's very tropey, very cliched, but like has an intention for this like genre and this place and point in time, maybe check out Cameron Burbeek or some of the other books that he's written. I didn't love this one. This one wasn't really for me, but I don't like regret having read it. It just felt like a bit of a miss. That being said, this next novel, The Forgotten Island by David Sodergren, this again pulls out all the cliches, all the stops of like a teen horror, and I absolutely loved this. This is about a group of late teens, early 20-somethings that go on vacation to Thailand, I believe. They go on vacation to Thailand, and they are just like the most ghastly crew. You don't want to be around them, you hate them. And they go to this island to party, and then chaos ensues from there. This has some of the most original and thoughtful death scenes I have ever read. I don't know, and I also felt like it was just like, it was very well paced. It was really exciting. Again, it felt very cliched. It felt very stereotypical. It wasn't the best writing I had ever read, but I was absolutely here for it. I was in the moment for it. I will definitely read more from David Sodergren in the future. This one just had me, it had me real stoked the whole time I was reading it. This is a good summer teen slasher. The Demonic Possession, a book so gripping you needed an exorcist to escape it. So for this one, I've got the Broken Earth trilogy by N.K. Jemisin. We've got the 5th season, the Obelisk Gate, and the Stone Sky. This is a science fiction, fantasy, dystopian series, and I am a person who enjoys series in books, but I find them really hard to read one after another. Even if I am, you know, really gripped by it. I really thought book one was primo. I will still read more books in between, and kind of like, it'll take me years to finish a series. That's me on the regular. That's me on the normal times. But with the Broken Earth trilogy, after I read the first one, I went right into the second one and then right into the third one. I binged these in like a week. I binged these real fast, real hard. I was so invested in this series. This is one of the best series I have ever read. Let's just hold it up. Let's just hold it up normal. This is one of the best series I have ever read in my life. And when I was in the office at work, I kept these books in my office on my shelf, and then it just became the library where anybody who walked by my office, I'd be like, read this, and then so I had everybody in my office read it after I had read it. I absolutely love this series. Highly recommend it. If you're looking for your next epic fantasy, please do check it out. And this one, the second one, was actually my favorite in the series, which I don't think happens very often, to have the second one be the best. That's just my opinion. I thought that the second one felt very much like a Dungeons and Dragons like campaign-based novel, like adventure quest novel. Loved it. Loved the whole series. I need an exorcist. I need an exorcist now, I guess. The Science Fiction, a precious book you would permanently sacrifice to aliens for the good of mankind. So again, this is one where I feel like I wish I had like a favorite book that I could put here to sacrifice to the aliens, but a precious book to me is The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is my like original university copy, and this book is precious to me because when I started out in my first year of university, I had no idea what I wanted to do, no idea what I wanted to study. I just took, you know, multidisciplinary courses, just just kind of trying to figure out where I was gonna go. And then in my first year, like English class, it was just like the general like English 101. We had to read The Picture of Dorian Gray, and I became obsessed. This book like absolutely blew my mind. It introduced me to like a genre and a form of literature that I had never really experienced before, and it was because of this book that I kind of redirected my major to the humanities. And I really thank this book for a lot that it did for me, and like the trajectory that it sent me on in my life. So this would be a precious book that I would be willing to sacrifice for the good of mankind. So there you have it, pals. There's a little book tag with some book recommendations. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought. Let me know if you want to read any of these, and I would love to chat with you about them. So take care out there, guys. Stay spooky, stay scary, and until next time, I'll see you, pals. Spooked ya.